One little white ticket slipped from my fingers and skittered across the gravel like it was trying to escape the moment. Maybe it was. Maybe it felt the weight of the blue uniform in front of me, the glint of a badge, the lazy curl of a smirk already forming on a man who'd decided who I was before I opened my mouth. "Sir, members only," he said, blocking the iron gates of Pine Ridge like he'd built them himself. His hand hovered near his gun, not touching, just reminding. The sun was high, hot, judgmental. My palms were sweating, but not from fear, more like fury dressed in a suit. I smiled anyway. "I am a member." He didn't even look at the card in my hand. "Not today. Turn around." I could have told him right then. I could have said, "Sir, I don't just belong here, I own here, but some lessons don't land when you throw them. They land when you let someone think they're winning, right up until the truth swings the door open." So I took a breath, and I stepped back. "My name is Elias Devonte Carter, black man, son of a postal worker and a cafeteria chef. I grew up 2 zip codes away, but miles from the world behind those gates. My first golf course was a patch of dirt behind my grandma's house, broomstick for a club, soda caps for balls. I learned the feel before I learned the rules, the swing before the score, the hush in your chest right before the tap. But life wasn't hush. Life was loud. Loud with rent notices, loud with sirens, loud with all the places I was never supposed to step foot in. Golf wasn't for me, they said. Not with their mouths, but with their eyes, their gates, their private property signs. So I promised myself, if there was a gate with my name scratched off it, I'd put it back in gold. I went to college on a scholarship, math, not sports. Numbers didn't care about my skin. They cared if they balanced. Tech startups followed. A fintech app. A quiet exit. Money came like rain after a drought, and everything bloomed fast. My parents' mortgage evaporated. My sister's med school debt dissolved. And me. I bought land. The kind with trees that whispered when the wind passed. A creek that remembered the taste of childhood summers, and a forgotten golf course with cracks in the concrete and shame in the silence. Pine Ridge was a ghost when I found her. Broken windows, vines crawling like thieves, but land remembers promises. I walked those acres and told the pines, "Let me love you and I'll bring you back." I partnered with old money that didn't ask questions as long as the checks cleared. I hid my name behind an LLC thick enough to choke gossip. I didn't want applause. I wanted control. Quiet, steady, patient control. Which brings me back to the gate. To the white police officer with the buzz cut and the narrowed eyes. Officer Daniel Sutter, Danny to his friends, sir to some, defendant to others. He wasn't new to this stretch of road. Pine Ridge sat on his patrol map, like a border he had to protect. He'd heard there was a suspicious black male creeping around earlier that week. Funny thing, that was me, walking the property I own. So when he saw me, black man, clean slacks, leather shoes, a black case with clubs, he didn't see a golfer, he saw a threat. And threats get stopped. "Turn around," he said again, voice dropping a tone like it might scare me off. "And if I don't?" I asked, head tilted just enough to make him choose. "I remove you." Behind us, a silver Lexus door opened. My grandmother, Loretta Jenkins, 82 years old, church hat perched like a crown, slid out slow. Her sunglasses dropped to the bridge of her nose, and she watched like it was Sunday sermon, and she already knew the ending. She said nothing, not yet. Up on the hill, hidden behind a blush of camellias, Jay crouched with a camera. Jay was filming B-roll for our relaunch documentary, Pine Ridge Rising from the Dead. Fate had other footage in mind. On the clubhouse porch, Rebecca Lynn, assistant GM, held a clipboard and a breath. She knew my name on paper because someone had to. She also knew this was no protocol. This was an event. So while Danny thought he controlled the scene was already crowded. A camera, an elder, an ally, and me, choosing patience over combustion. I raised my hand slowly. "All right," I said. "You got it." He nodded, the kind of nod that tastes like small victory and stale pride. He stayed. The gates stayed closed. I walked away, but I didn't go far. There's always a back door. I slipped down the service road, through the trees, over the creek footbridge I'd repaired myself. I entered the clubhouse through the kitchen, past the smell of fresh coffee, to where Rebecca waited, jaw tight, eyes hotter than the grill. "Mr. Carter, Elias," I said. "What's happening at the gate?" The officer said someone called, said you were trespassing. She hesitated. "Do we tell him?" "Our deal was confidentiality," I said. "But maybe today's the exception." Her brow knotted. "He threatened you." "This is beyond." "I know." I cut in. "Let the story breathe. Oxygen shows you what's really burning. Truth is, I'd exploded before. In dorm rooms, when security shadowed me, like I was stealing time. In boardrooms, when urban market meant black people we don't get. At airport checkpoints, when my passport stamps confused a guard's imagination. But you grow up, you get money, you get control. Rage doesn't vanish, it learns strategy. My father said, "There's the fight you win with fists, and the fight you win with facts. Know the difference." Today was a fact fight. I had deeds, payrolls, minutes, plans. I wanted him to feel the slip, the exact second he realized he'd tried to lock out the landlord. Outside, Grandma Loretta wasn't quiet anymore. Her cane tapped twice, like a gavel. "Young man," she called. Danny didn't turn. "Ma'am, please stay in your vehicle." "My legs work just fine," she shot back. "Better than your eyesight, I reckon." He blinked. "You didn't even look at that boy's card. You saw skin and decided it spoke louder than his name." "I'm following protocol," he warned. "There was a report. You have to treat folks like folks." She cut him off. "Do you know who you're talking to?" He smirked. "Another non-member trying to sneak in?" She laughed, rich and low. "Child, the only thing sneaking here is your shame. That man belongs here more than you do." Jay's camera hummed. Rebecca started dialing, and I stepped out with a folder in my hands. "Relax," I said softly when Danny's palm brushed his gun. "It's paper," he scowled. "I told you, and I heard you, members only. So let's talk membership." I opened the folder on the little podium by the gate. Deed to Pine Ridge LLC, Articles of Incorporation, List of partners, the contract naming me managing owner, Judge Franklin's signature, the mayor's ribbon-cutting photo, receipts for the youth training facility we opened last month. "Recognize any of this?" I asked. He flipped, too fast to read. "Could be fake." I smiled. "Could be." "Isn't, Rebecca?" She swallowed. "It's true. Elias is the owner." He barked a single laugh. "Owner of this place. This is Pine Ridge, and Pine Ridge," I said quietly, "is mine." Silence. Pine trees breathed. Jay held his breath. Grandma tapped her cane. Rebecca's fingers shook around her phone. Then Danny squared his shoulders. "Even if that's true, you were reported as suspicious. I still need to run your ID. Make sure you're not a threat." "A threat to my own land." Laughter bubbled up before I could clamp it down. "Run it," I said. "But answer me, if I were a white polo visitor, would we be here?" "Don't pull the race card," he snapped. Grandma snorted. "Baby, you dealt the whole deck." Rebecca stepped forward. "Officer Sutter, this is escalating. You're off duty. Let club security handle it. Elias is within his rights." "I'm sworn to protect and serve," he growled. "Who are you protecting?" I asked. "Who are you serving? Because right now it looks like you're guarding a gate from its owner and serving your pride." He stared, eyes cold, mouth a hard line. I saw something under the anger, fear, the fear that the story he believed about the world was cracking, and if it cracked, where would he stand? Fear doesn't loosen easily. My phone buzzed. "Jay, we're live." I glanced down, comments already boiling. "He's the owner? Officer Wildin. This is why nothing changes. Protect this man." And the other comments too, the kind that burn your soul and prove your point. Danny noticed the phone. "Are you recording me? Making sure there's a record. That's illegal. Georgia's one-party consent." I said lightly. "I consent." He cursed under his breath. Power was slipping like sand through his fingers. He knew it. I knew it. Then my phone rang. Mayor Chandler. I hit speaker, eyes on Danny. "Elias," the mayor barked. "What's going on?" "I'm getting messages. Just a misunderstanding," I said. "Officer Sutter doesn't believe I belong here." A pause. "Hand him the phone." Danny hesitated, then grabbed it. "Yes, Mayor. I just watched 3 minutes of you blocking the owner of Pine Ridge from entering his own property." "Stand down, officer." "With respect, sir." "No, with respect, stand down. We've had enough headlines this year. I won't have another, because you can't admit you're wrong. Leave. Now." Danny handed the phone back, like it burned. He didn't move. "This can end clean or messy," I said. "Choose." "I'm not leaving until I confirm your identity fully," he muttered. "That's my duty." "Fine," I said. I pulled a small fob from my pocket, the gate remote, pressed the button. The iron groaned, slow and heavy, sliding open like it was tired of the argument. Danny flinched, like he might step in front of the moving metal. Rebecca gasped. Grandma whispered a prayer into the wind. Jay zoomed in. I paused at the threshold. "Danny," I said, quiet but sharp, "move." He stepped aside. Barely enough. I drove through, slow, felt the gravel under the tires like a heartbeat. Parked by the first tee. My hands shook, not from fear, but from what it meant. I looked back. Danny still stood there, fists tight, eyes burning. He wasn't a monster, just a man with a script, too small for the world. If I left him there, he'd write his own version. He'd make me the aggressor, himself the hero. So I walked back. "Come inside," I said. "Have a coffee." He recoiled like I'd offered poison. "I don't need your charity." "It's not charity. It's a conversation." He hesitated, looked at Grandma. She nodded. "Go on, son. Talking never killed anybody." He followed me into the clubhouse, awkward in a room built for ease, sat stiffly in a chair too soft. I poured coffee, black, no sugar. He didn't thank me. "Why'd you hide your ownership?" he blurted. "I didn't want this place to be about me. I wanted it to be about what it could be." "For who?" "For kids who looked like me. For folks who never thought they'd touch a green unless they were mowing it. For old members too. Building bridges doesn't mean tearing down every old one. It means adding more." He stared at his cup. "You think I'm racist?" Enjoying the story so far? Smash subscribe so we can share more powerful lessons, and tell me in the comments, have you ever been judged before anyone knew your worth? I sighed. I think you acted on bias. I think your fear wore a uniform today. I think you can choose not to next time, but I'm not here to diagnose you. I'm here to run a club that's going to be known for more than trophies. He swallowed. My dad always said, "Give an inch, they take a mile." My dad said, "Take the mile anyway, son. Pave it while you walk." His mouth twitched into the ghost of a smile. "You really built this? Not alone, but yeah, I steered it. You didn't blast me online? We were live," I said. "The world saw you." He winced. "So I'm done." "Maybe not. Maybe you stand up. You apologize. You show people you can learn. Pride's a heavy coat. Take it off." He shut his eyes, and when he opened them, they were wet. "I've got a daughter. She's 10, mixed. Her mum's Latina. She asked me last week why people hate brown skin. I told her they don't." I lied. The room went quiet. The kind of quiet that rearranges furniture without touching it. Do better for her, I said. He nodded. Can I talk at your relaunch? Tell what I did. I hadn't planned for that. We'll see. First, apologize. Not to me, to everyone. Fully. No half measures. He stared at the grooves in the table like they could spell out the words for him. I let the silence sit, let it grow branches. He finally nodded, small, almost ashamed. I stood, took my cup, and left him with his cooling coffee and the weight of his own thoughts. By sunset, the clip had done what clips do. It flew. Jay sent me numbers. 100,000 views in 2 hours, then 300, then climbing like a balloon no one could reel in. The comments split the country like a fault line. Some folks thanked me for keeping my cool. Some said I should have pressed charges. Some said I made it up. Others said, happens every day. This time you filmed it. Rebecca cornered me in my office. The board wants an emergency call. Tonight. Of course they did. I dialed in at 8 p.m. The blue glow of the screen, lighting my face in the dim office. Their boxes popped up one by one. Old money faces framed by oil paintings and tall bookshelves. Only 2 of them had met me in person. Most liked me better as a signature on a wire transfer. Elias, Mr. Whitmore began, voice honeyed with politeness. This situation is delicate. It's discriminatory, I corrected. It's viral, Mrs. Patel chimed in, brows pinched. Our emails are flooded. Reporters are calling staff at home. Then let's control the narrative, I said. We tell the truth. We launch as planned, but bigger. We announce the youth initiative. We show them what Pine Ridge stands for now. A cough crackled. Are you sure that's wise? Whitmore asked. Our legacy members will either stay or go, I said. But this was always going to be bigger than tea times and cocktail hours. If you want to be safe, sell, I'll buy you out. Silence. Pixelated faces glitched. Mrs. Patel smiled. I'm with Elias. 2 more nodded. A 4th looked like he'd swallowed a lemon. Fine, Whitmore muttered. But we need to know who placed that anonymous call to the police. If it came from inside, we have a different problem. The call ended with half-finished resolutions and jittery goodnights. I leaned back, rubbed my eyes, and felt the ache settle into my shoulders. I needed air. Grandma Loretta was on the veranda, Kane leaning against her chair, cup of chamomile in her hand. She didn't look at me when she spoke. You playing chess, boy, or you playing God? I'm just trying to steer, I murmured. Steering's fine, just don't forget to listen to the engine. She sipped. That officer, he's stuck, but stuck ain't the same as sealed. People need a crack to grow through. You gave him one. I didn't give it for him. I stretched, spine popping. I gave it for every kid who watches that gate and decides to turn around before they even try. She set the cup down with a click. And for yourself, don't act like you don't know that. She was right, as usual. I kissed her forehead, inhaled the lavender cream she never abandoned, and went back inside to find Jay reviewing footage, Rebecca drafting PR, and my phone buzzing like a trapped bee. At midnight, a number I didn't recognize flashed. I answered. A man's voice, low, strained. Mr. Carter, this is he. This is Hollis, Mark Hollis, former Greens manager. You let me go last year. I remembered him. Younger than his bitterness had made him look. Came in late, talked back, treated the crew like they were his burden. I gave him warnings. He gave me excuses. What do you need, Mark? I need to say something. I heard the clip. The officer, the call. That wasn't me, but I know who it was. I sat up. Who? A pause, swallowing. Member named Arnold Pierce. He got mad last week when the new dress code email went out. Said too many changes since the new money took over. He saw you walking the far fairway yesterday. Asked me, who's that? I said I didn't know. He laughed, said he'd take care of it. Later, I heard him on the phone, saying suspicious blackmails like it was a punchline. And you're telling me this because... Another pause. Because I got a daughter who's darker than me, and I don't want to be the reason she gets turned away from somewhere one day. Because I was wrong about you. Because I need a job. Any job. Doesn't have to be here. I exhaled. Come by tomorrow. We'll talk. He hung up before I could change my mind. I pinched the bridge of my nose. Pierce. Of course. Old guard in khaki shorts. And a temper you could smell. He'd fought every renovation, every new hire that didn't look like him, every policy that loosened the tie around this place's neck. I texted Rebecca. Find out if Pierce has been on the property since yesterday, and double-check security call logs. Sleep came late and brittle. I dreamed of gates, huge iron jaws clamping shut. I pressed the remote, and it turned to sand. Morning cracked open with birds and my phone alarm. Coffee, shirt sleeves, a meeting with legal. We drafted statements. We rehearsed the press Q&A. We planned for protesters and for members who'd walk out. We planned for members who'd walk in for the first time. Danny texted at noon. Can we meet? A first. I told him 4 o'clock. Staff dining room, back table, neutral ground. He came in plain clothes, grey t-shirt, jeans, looked smaller without the badge. He sat, hands knotted. I wrote an apology, he said, sliding a folded paper toward me. Read it. I unfolded. It was safe, vague. I'm sorry if anyone was offended. It lived there, wedged between miscommunication and misunderstanding. No, I said, handing it back. This reads like a memo. People don't need corporate regret. They need human truth. Say what you did. Say why it was wrong. No ifs, no conditionals. His jaw tightened. You want me humiliated. I want you honest. I leaned back. Humiliation is a byproduct of pride. Meeting daylight. Let it sting. Then heal. He stared. I could lose my job. You could lose your soul if you keep pretending you did nothing. Pick what matters. He slumped, rubbed his face. I don't know how to say it. Start with I was wrong. Then tell them what you'll do differently. Tell them what you'll teach your daughter. He didn't reply, just nodded, left the paper crumpled on the table like a shed skin. Rebecca slipped in after he left. Security confirmed. Pierce called from the parking lot payphone across the road. Footage caught him. We have audio from the operator's line. He used the phrase doesn't belong twice. Good, I said. We're not dragging him. We're just ready if he tries to drag us. The day before the relaunch, rain hammered the course like it was punishing the pines. Storm drains overflowed. Fairways became mirrors. Staff grumbled, then hustled. We moved the stage indoors, turned the ballroom into a hall of second chances. Around midnight, I found Grandma asleep in a chair, TV murmuring an old sitcom. I turned it off, laid a blanket over her. She stirred. You do what you can, she mumbled. Then you let God iron the rest. I went outside. The air smelled like wet earth. I walked to the gate, touched the cold iron, remembered my small hand on chain-link fences as a child, feeling the vibration of a world that didn't want me in. I whispered, open, even though it already was. On the morning of the relaunch, the rain quit like it remembered its manners. Clouds split, sun slid in, cars rolled up, news vans too, protesters with signs that read "Bias has no badge" and "Let us in" stood across from members in pastel polos, mouths tight, arms folded. We assembled in the ballroom, white tablecloths, a banner, simple, no text beyond the club name, and the initiative title, photos of kids on makeshift courses, Gatorade bottles for teas, Walmart clubs cut down to size, a podium in the center, like a confession booth. Jay checked the feed, audio good, 3 angles, comments disabled until after the stream. Good. I took a breath, walked on stage to a murmur that quieted, then shifted. Faces, cameras, Grandma in the front, chin high, Rebecca at the side, hands folded, the board lining the back wall, and off to the right, Danny, daughter clutching his hand, eyes like saucers. I spoke, calm, clear. Names, dates, deeds. The truth is, like a ledger, how this place was built, forgotten, rebuilt, how a call turned into a confrontation, how we were expanding, not excluding, how the Pine Ridge of tomorrow would belong to more than the Pine Ridge of yesterday ever imagined. I stepped back. There's someone else who wants to speak. Danny walked like a man heading to an altar, not for marriage, but for reckoning. He put both hands on the podium, knuckles white, paper in his pocket. He looked at his daughter, then at me. Then he didn't look at either of us. He looked at the room. I was wrong, he said. The air shifted. People leaned in. I judged a man by his skin before I judged him by anything else. I saw a black man at a gate, and I decided he didn't belong. I disrespected him. I disrespected this place. I disrespected what my badge should stand for. I am sorry. A murmur, a cough. Someone whispered. Well, he continued, I told myself I was following protocol. I told myself I was keeping order. Truth, I was keeping my comfort. I didn't look at his card. I didn't listen to his words. I listened to the voice in my head that says danger when it sees brown. That voice isn't the law. It's a lie. I'm going to do the work to quiet it. He took a breath that rattled. I have a daughter. She's 10. She asked me why people hate brown skin. I told her they don't. I lied. People do, sometimes without knowing, sometimes with a smile. I'm not going to lie to her anymore. A camera shutter clicked. Another. I can't erase what I did. I can only admit it and change. And I'm asking every officer I work with to check themselves. I'm starting with me. Silence. Then applause, tentative, scattered, then stronger. Not everyone clapped. That's fine. Not everyone's hands are ready. I took the mic back. Pine Ridge is home to the Carter Youth Golf Initiative starting today. Free lessons, free clubs, free mentorship, because gates aren't meant to trap. They're meant to open. We're also establishing mandatory bias training for all staff and security, and we're hosting community days twice a month. Bring your kids, bring your questions, bring your doubt. We'll meet you at the door. Grandma stood, raised her cane like a glass, and bring an appetite. Sunday dinners are back. Laughter rolled across the room like a blessing. Before I could exhale, Pierce erupted from the second row, face red as a hazard flag. This is a disgrace, he yelled. You hijacked our club, our traditions. Ah, I raised an eyebrow. He pointed a shaking finger. You hid your name because you knew damn well we wouldn't. Let a black man own what you couldn't pay your debts on. I finished. Sir, if you want to go, the gate works both ways. Security stepped in, not with hands on guns, but open palms. Pierce sputtered, grabbed his blazer, stormed out, knocking a chair to the floor. A few followed him. More stayed. The moment cracked, then healed. Later, after the speeches, after the cameras packed up, after the protest signs folded and the pastel polos loosened, I stood in the hallway and watched kids line up for registration forms. Parents asked questions. Is there a fee? Do they need their own clubs? Can girls join? And staff answered, no, no, and yes please. Danny approached me, daughter in tow. Sophia, he said, voice gentle, this is Mr. Carter. She stuck out a hand. Thank you for letting me play here, she said, words precise like she'd practiced. You're welcome, I said, shaking gently. Hit it far, she grinned. I will. She ran off to the putting mat we'd set up. Danny stayed. Thank you, he muttered, for not destroying me. I didn't do it for you, I said, but I'm glad you're here. He nodded. I'll volunteer Saturdays, if you'll have me. We'll need people to shag balls and set up drills, I said. You good at following orders? He almost laughed. Learning. Grandma shuffled up beside me. None. Learning's good. Better than pretending. She winked at Danny. You bring snacks next week. Kids love snacks. Yes, ma'am, he said, sudden and sincere. The day bled into golden hour. I walked to the gate again, just to see it in this new light. A group of teenagers walked past me, laughing, clubs clanking, Sophia among them. Jay filmed them from behind, their silhouettes against the sun. I pressed my palm to the iron. It was warm now, not an enemy, just iron, shaped by hands, commanded by a button, meaningless without the people moving through it. If you're still listening, ask yourself, whose story did you inherit without question? Whose voice in your head whispers threat when it should whisper think? And how many gates have you guarded that weren't even yours? Sometimes change looks like a speech at a podium. Sometimes it looks like a trembling apology. Sometimes it looks like a 10-year-old girl teeing up under a sky that finally feels big enough. And sometimes it looks like letting a gate slide open and refusing to let it close the same way again. If this story stirred even a spark in you, smash that subscribe button so that we can pour more stories that matter. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone. Start a conversation. Do something with it. Ask what gates you're standing in front of. Ask who you're blocking and why. Then step aside. Say, come in. Let's talk. That's how worlds change. Not always with shouting. Sometimes with the quiet slide of a gate.